Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and fellow warriors of life, today I stand before you to talk about something that is not just a matter of heartbreak, but a journey toward reclaiming your own power, your own essence. It's about understanding that there is a strength inside you, an unshakable force that nothing and no one can take away. Life, my friends, has a way of teaching us lessons we never expect. We often find ourselves in situations where we lose pieces of ourselves to someone, something, or even circumstances. But the most painful and the most beautiful lesson is this: you are the one who has the power to heal, to move on, to rediscover your worth. We all go through experiences where we feel abandoned, where the person we thought we could count on turns their back, or where the connection we had seems to fade. It's easy to get consumed by thoughts of why and how, but let me tell you something. The question should never be about them. It should always be about you. You see, when you step into your own light, when you recognize your worth, that's when the true healing begins. You don't need validation from anyone. You don't need someone to tell you you're worthy. You don't need them to realize your worth. You know what's the most powerful thing you can do? Live your life for you. Live it for your dreams, for your passions, for your growth. Be the woman who walks into a room and makes it brighter, not because she's waiting for someone's approval, but because she knows who she is and what she's worth. Make no mistake, this journey is not always easy. There will be moments where you will feel the sting, the loneliness, the void. But in those moments, remember, you are the architect of your own story. You have the pen. And your story is not one of loss, but of reclamation, of rediscovery, of rising like a phoenix from the ashes. What does it mean to make someone feel the pain of losing you? It means finding your voice. It means walking away with dignity, with strength, with grace. It means building the life you deserve, without waiting for anyone to come back and try to rewrite your story. Because, my friends, the truth is this: when you rise above the storm, when you take back your power, when you embrace yourself fully, your presence becomes a reminder that no one, no circumstance, no event could ever take away what is truly yours. So, make them feel the pain of losing you, not by making them regret their choices, but by showing them that you were always more than enough, that your light is not dependent on anyone else's recognition. Remember, you are not just a chapter in someone else's life. You are the author of your own, and your story will always be one of strength, resilience, and grace. Reclaiming your power is one of the most transformative and empowering journeys you can embark on in life. It is an act of deep self-awareness where you recognize that your worth is inherent, not dependent on others, and that your happiness and peace come from within. Often we get caught up in seeking validation from external sources, be it from other people, achievements, or material possessions. We measure our value by how others see us, how much approval we receive, or how much love and attention we can garner. But when we do this, we surrender our power to those outside of us. We become vulnerable to their judgments, their opinions, and their actions, allowing them to dictate our emotional well-being. To reclaim your power is to stand firm in your own sense of self-worth, irrespective of external validation or approval. It means realizing that your value doesn't fluctuate based on what others think of you or how they treat you. You are enough simply because you exist. You are worthy of love, respect, and success, not because someone else tells you so, but because it is a fundamental truth about your being. Your strength is not something to be given or taken by others. It is yours by birthright, yours to nurture, and yours to guard fiercely. The first step in reclaiming your power is to acknowledge that you are in control of your own life. You are the author of your own story, and the direction it takes is entirely in your hands. We often feel powerless in situations where we are dependent on others, whether it's a partner, a friend, a family member, or a boss. We give them the power to affect our moods, our decisions, and our future. But true power comes from within. When you realize that no one has the ability to dictate your happiness or success, you start to take ownership of your life in a way that changes everything. This doesn't mean that life will always be easy or that you won't face challenges, setbacks, and disappointments. What it means is that you approach these situations from a place of inner strength. You don't let the opinions or actions of others derail you from your path. Instead, you navigate these challenges with resilience, confidence, and an unwavering belief in your own ability to overcome them. You recognize that you're not at the mercy of anyone or anything. No matter what happens outside of you, your power remains intact as long as you keep rooted in your truth. Part of reclaiming your power is learning to set boundaries. Boundaries are essential to maintaining your emotional well-being and preserving your sense of self. When we allow people to overstep our boundaries, whether intentionally or unintentionally, we give away our power. We compromise our needs, our desires, and our values in order to appease others or avoid conflict. This leads to feelings of resentment, frustration, and eventually exhaustion. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect. It is a way of saying, I honor myself enough to protect my space, my energy, and my peace of mind. When you set clear boundaries and enforce them with consistency, you are taking control of your life and protecting your power from being drained by others. Equally important is learning to stop seeking external validation. For most of us, seeking approval from others is a deeply ingrained habit. We want to be liked, appreciated, and recognized for our efforts. But when we depend on external validation for our sense of self-worth, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Not everyone will see us the way we want to be seen, and not everyone will appreciate us in the way we feel we deserve. When we place our value in the hands of others, we are at their mercy. Reclaiming your power means looking inward for validation. It means acknowledging that your self-worth is intrinsic and that you don't need anyone's approval to feel good about who you are. This shift in mindset requires practice. It requires you to let go of the need for constant affirmation and to start cultivating a relationship with yourself that is grounded in self-acceptance. You begin to value yourself for who you truly are without needing anyone else to affirm it. You acknowledge your strengths, your flaws, your journey, and your uniqueness. And you accept it all as part of who you are. The more you practice this self-conviction, the more your inner power grows. You no longer need others to tell you that you're enough, because you already know it. Another key aspect of reclaiming your power is learning to let go of the past. Many of us carry emotional baggage from past relationships, experiences, or traumas. We hold on to hurt, resentment, and regret, which ultimately drains our energy and diminishes our sense of self-worth. Holding on to the past is like carrying a heavy weight that prevents us from moving forward. Reclaiming your power involves releasing these negative emotions and learning to heal. This doesn't mean forgetting or dismissing the pain. Rather, it means choosing not to let it control your life anymore. It means forgiving yourself and others, not for their sake, but for your own peace of mind. When you let go of the past, you free yourself from the emotional chains that bind you. You allow yourself to move forward with a clean slate, unburdened by the mistakes or wounds of yesterday. You reclaim the energy that was once lost to regret and frustration, and you use that energy to build a future that aligns with your true desires. You stop looking backward and start focusing on the possibilities that lie ahead. This process of release is liberating. It's an act of self-love and a powerful declaration that you are no longer willing to be defined by what happened to you. You are choosing to define yourself in the present with the power to shape your own future. Equally important in reclaiming your power is learning to trust yourself. Self-doubt is one of the greatest obstacles to personal growth. We often second-guess our decisions, question our abilities, and wonder if we're on the right path. But trusting yourself is about believing that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. It's about having confidence in your judgment, in your intuition, and in your ability to navigate the twists and turns of life. Trusting yourself means knowing that even if you make mistakes, you will learn and grow from them. It means accepting that you are human and that you have the strength to rise again, no matter what challenges you face. When you trust yourself, you make decisions with conviction. You stop waiting for external opinions or approval to guide your choices. You listen to your inner voice and trust that it knows what's best for you. Even when the path is uncertain or unclear, you move forward with confidence, knowing that you have the wisdom and resilience to navigate whatever lies ahead. Self-trust is a key component of reclaiming your power because it allows you to take charge of your life and move forward with purpose and clarity. Reclaiming your power means embracing your worth, no matter how others may try to diminish it. There will always be people who try to undermine you, who try to make you feel small, or who try to convince you that you are not enough. But your worth is not up for debate. It is not dependent on anyone else's opinion of you. You are worthy simply because you exist, because you're human, and because you have inherent value. When you embrace this truth, you stop seeking approval or validation from others. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into the mold that others have created for you. Instead, you stand tall in your own light, unapologetically owning your worth and your power. Reclaiming your power is a lifelong process, one that requires patience, practice, and a deep commitment to yourself. It's not always easy, and there will be times when you falter or feel unsure. But the more you cultivate self-awareness, self-compassion, and self-love, the stronger and more resilient you become. You begin to recognize that your power has always been within you. It was never something to be given or taken away by anyone else. And as you reclaim that power, you realize that you're not just surviving, you are thriving. You're living a life that is truly yours, built on your own terms and fueled by your own strength. Living for yourself is one of the most profound and necessary shifts you can make in your life. We often find ourselves living for others, shaping our actions, decisions, and even our identities around what is expected or desired by the people around us. Whether it's trying to meet the standards of our family, friends, society, or even a partner, we often become so focused on the external that we lose sight of our own needs, desires, and dreams. Living for yourself doesn't mean being selfish in the negative sense, but it means prioritizing your happiness, your peace, and your journey above all else. It's about recognizing that your life is yours to live, and your fulfillment doesn't depend on anyone else's approval or satisfaction. When you live for yourself, you begin to understand that you are the main character in your own story. Too often, we let other people define the narrative of our lives, basing our choices on what others expect or think of us. But living for yourself requires you to take the pen in your own hands and decide what your life is going to look like. It's about making choices that align with your values, your passions, and your purpose rather than merely fulfilling someone else's expectations. This doesn't mean that you disregard the needs or feelings of others, but it means that you no longer prioritize their desires above your own. You start recognizing that you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you constantly give to others without considering your own well-being, you eventually deplete yourself, leaving nothing to give. By living for yourself, you're choosing to take care of your own emotional, mental, and physical health so that you can show up fully for others when it matters. Living for yourself also means embracing your own dreams and aspirations, even if they don't fit into the mold of what others expect from you. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation or approval for the things you want to achieve. We often look for permission from others before we take a step toward our goals. But when you begin living for yourself, you release the need for external validation. You understand that your dreams are valid simply because they are yours. No one else needs to understand or agree with them for them to be meaningful. Many times we hold ourselves back from pursuing our passions because we fear disappointing others or being judged. We fear that our ambitions may not align with societal norms or the expectations of our families. But when you live for yourself, you give yourself permission to pursue your dreams unapologetically. You stop second-guessing your desires and start following the path that feels right for you, regardless of whether it fits into the conventional standards. Your happiness should not depend on meeting someone else's criteria for success or fulfillment. You are the one who has to live with the decisions you make, so it's only fair that those decisions reflect your true desires. Living for yourself is also about reclaiming your sense of self-worth. Far too often, we base our value on how others perceive us or how much we can give to others. We seek love, approval, and recognition from those around us as a means of validating our worth. But when you live for yourself, you recognize that your worth is not contingent upon others. It is innate, constant, and unshakable. The moment you stop measuring your worth by external factors is the moment you begin to take back control of your life. You begin to realize that you are worthy of love, respect, and success simply because you are you, not because of how others see you or how much you can give. To live for yourself also requires learning how to say no. One of the most powerful things you can do when living for yourself is setting boundaries. Many people struggle with saying no because they fear disappointing others or facing conflict. But constantly saying yes to everyone else means saying no to yourself, your time, and your energy. By learning to say no, you're making a conscious decision to prioritize your needs and to protect your well-being. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person or selfish. It simply means that you respect yourself enough to set limits. It's a clear message that you are in control of how you spend your time, your energy, and your resources. Living for yourself is also about embracing your individuality. Too often, we suppress our uniqueness in order to fit in or to be accepted by others. We wear masks to conform to social expectations, afraid that if we show our true selves, we won't be loved or accepted. But living authentically, free from the need for validation or approval, is the most liberating experience you can have. When you live for yourself, you stop trying to be someone you're not. You stop pretending, and instead you embrace all parts of who you are. The good, the bad, the quirky, the beautiful. You realize that your uniqueness is not something to hide, but something to celebrate. One of the most significant parts of living for yourself is the ability to find peace and happiness from within. We often search for happiness externally through relationships, achievements, or possessions, believing that once we get those things, we will finally feel fulfilled. But the truth is that true happiness comes from within. When you live for yourself, you begin to cultivate a sense of contentment that doesn't depend on external circumstances. You find joy in the small moments, in the things that nourish your soul, in the way you treat yourself with love and compassion. This inner peace comes from the realization that you are enough just as you are. You don't need to chase after external validation or the approval of others to feel complete. You are already whole. By living for yourself, you allow yourself to experience joy without constantly seeking permission from the outside world. This inner peace is liberating and unshakable. It doesn't depend on what others think or what you achieve. It comes from being at peace with who you are and where you are in life. Living for yourself is about taking ownership of your life. It's about becoming the person you were always meant to be, free from the expectations and limitations that others may try to impose upon you. It's about trusting yourself enough to make decisions that honor your truth, even when it's uncomfortable or difficult. It's about creating a life that reflects your deepest desires and values without apologizing for who you are or what you want. It's a bold, empowering choice to step into your own power, to live with intention, and to take responsibility for your own happiness. Rising above the storm is a metaphor for finding strength and resilience in the face of adversity. Life is full of challenges that can shake us to our core. There are moments when the world seems to fall apart, when everything that once felt certain is suddenly uncertain, and when the weight of struggles threatens to overwhelm us. These are the times when we feel the storm raging within and around us, a storm that can blur our vision and test our resolve. However, it is in these very moments of difficulty that we have the potential to discover the true extent of our inner power. Rising above the storm doesn't mean pretending that the difficulties aren't there or that they don't affect us. It's not about ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine when it's not. Instead, it's about choosing to not let those challenges define us. It's about acknowledging the storm, feeling its intensity, but deciding not to be consumed by it. Rising above means choosing to rise despite the storm, to continue moving forward with hope and strength, even when everything else seems to be falling apart. It's in the face of adversity that we find the opportunity to grow and transform into something stronger, more resilient, and more self-aware. When the storm comes, it can feel like the end of the road. The feeling of helplessness is real, and the emotional weight can feel unbearable. Yet, in those very moments, we have a choice. We can either allow the storm to dictate our actions, our emotions, and our sense of self-worth, or we can take control of how we respond. Rising above the storm is not about controlling the circumstances, as they may be beyond our influence. It's about controlling how we respond to those circumstances. We cannot always change what happens to us, but we can choose how we navigate through it. This choice is where our power lies. The first step in rising above the storm is to acknowledge your emotions. We often try to avoid feeling difficult emotions such as sadness, anger, or fear, thinking that these feelings will hold us back. But the truth is that we cannot rise above the storm unless we allow ourselves to feel what we're going through. Acknowledging our emotions doesn't mean letting them control us. It means being honest with ourselves about what we are feeling and allowing ourselves the space to process those feelings. When we give ourselves permission to feel, we allow the emotional storm to pass more quickly rather than bottling it up and letting it fester. Once we acknowledge our emotions, the next step is to focus on our mindset. It is easy to fall into a victim mentality when we are faced with challenges. We may start to believe that everything is against us, that life is unfair, or that we are powerless in the face of our struggles. However, it's important to understand that our mindset has a significant impact on how we experience adversity. If we approach life's challenges with a mindset of helplessness, we are more likely to feel defeated and overwhelmed. But if we choose to adopt a mindset of resilience, one that focuses on our ability to adapt, learn, and grow in the face of adversity, we can find strength even in the most difficult circumstances. A resilient mindset is about finding meaning in our struggles. It's about reframing the situation and asking ourselves what we can learn from it. Every storm, no matter how painful, has the potential to teach us something valuable. It may teach us about our own strength, our ability to persevere, or the importance of empathy and compassion for others. By shifting our mindset from one of defeat to one of growth, we empower ourselves to rise above the storm rather than be buried by it. Rising above the storm also requires self-compassion. When life gets difficult, we can be our harshest critics. We may beat ourselves up for not having it all together or for not being able to control everything around us. But self-compassion is essential for overcoming adversity. It means being gentle with ourselves when things aren't going as planned. It means understanding that it's okay to struggle, to not have all the answers, and to take things one step at a time. Self-compassion allows us to be patient with ourselves as we weather the storm, knowing that healing and growth take time. It's a reminder that we are human and that it's okay to ask for help, to rest, and to give ourselves the grace to heal. Another essential element of rising above the storm is having a sense of purpose. When we face tough times, it's easy to lose sight of what we're working toward or why we're continuing to move forward. During these moments, our purpose can be a guiding light. It's important to reconnect with our values, passions, and goals. What is it that drives us? What do we hope to accomplish in our lives? When we have a strong sense of purpose, it gives us the motivation to keep going, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. Purpose gives us a reason to rise above the storm because we know that the storm is temporary, but our purpose is something that transcends the challenges we face. The support of others can also play a crucial role in rising above the storm. While it's important to build inner strength, we are not meant to face life's challenges alone. There is immense power in leaning on those we trust. Family, friends, mentors, or even a therapist. When we are going through tough times, asking for help doesn't make us weak. It makes us human. Sometimes just having someone to listen, to validate our feelings, or to offer a different perspective can help us see the storm in a new light. Support from others can provide us with the strength to keep going, reminding us that we don't have to face life's challenges in isolation. Your presence is enough. A simple yet profound truth that we often overlook in a world that constantly demands more. We live in a society that places immense value on doing, achieving, and constantly proving ourselves. It can feel like we are defined by what we accomplish, how much we give, or how others perceive us. There's this unspoken pressure to be constantly proving our worth through action, success, or the approval of others. But the most powerful realization is this: you do not need to do anything extraordinary for your presence to be significant. You are valuable, worthy, and enough just as you are. The idea that your presence is enough is rooted in the truth that your inherent value doesn't come from external sources. It doesn't depend on your achievements, how much you've helped others, or how well you fit into societal expectations. Your worth is not something to be earned. It is intrinsic. The fact that you exist, that you bring your unique perspective, energy, and light into the world makes you enough. Too often we get caught in the trap of thinking that we need to do more, be more, or change who we are to feel worthy. But the real power comes from recognizing that you are worthy of love, respect, and success in every moment, simply because you exist. This realization is not about diminishing the importance of personal growth or striving to reach our full potential. It's not about ignoring ambition or dismissing the value of hard work. Instead, it's about understanding that you don't have to chase after external validation to confirm your worth. Your presence in any space, whether it's a room full of people, a quiet moment with yourself, or the simple interactions you have with those around you, holds immeasurable value. You do not have to prove yourself, perform, or meet anyone else's expectations for your presence to matter. There is power in just being. When you allow yourself to fully accept and embrace your presence, you begin to notice the subtle yet impactful influence you have on the world around you. Your energy, your words, your actions, whether big or small, leave an impression. The way you show up, the kindness you extend, and the authenticity with which you move through the world is enough to create change. Every interaction you have, even if it seems insignificant, carries weight. The way you listen, the way you offer support, the way you smile, these things are meaningful. They are enough. Your presence is a gift to the world, and it doesn't need to be justified by any external achievement or praise. We often tie our sense of worth to what we do for others. We derive validation from helping others, from being needed, from being appreciated. But when we begin to see our presence as enough, we stop placing the burden of our worth on others' acceptance. We stop thinking that we have to prove our value by constantly being useful or worthy through external actions. Instead, we begin to understand that just by being true to ourselves, just by existing with authenticity and grace, we are already contributing something meaningful to the world. This concept of your presence is enough also challenges the way we view success and achievement. Success is often measured by how much we accomplish, how much we have, or how much we can do for others. Well, what if success is not about what we do, but about who we are? What if the ultimate success is simply being true to ourselves, showing up with honesty, kindness, and integrity in every moment? When we stop measuring success based on outward achievements, we free ourselves from the pressure to constantly prove our worth through performance. Success becomes less about external milestones and more about inner contentment and authenticity. One of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves is the freedom to just be. This freedom allows us to live without the weight of constantly having to perform or meet expectations. When we accept that our presence is enough, we stop overburdening ourselves with the need to do more or to meet an unattainable standard. We let go of the need to compare ourselves to others or to measure our worth by external standards. Instead, we embrace the idea that who we are in our purest, most authentic form is already enough. This is also where self-acceptance comes into play. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that we are only worthy if we fit a particular mold or meet specific criteria. Society tells us that success, beauty, intelligence, and productivity are the ultimate markers of our worth. But self-acceptance is about recognizing and embracing our imperfections. It's about acknowledging that we don't have to be perfect to be enough. In fact, our imperfections make us human, and they add to the richness of our existence. When we accept ourselves fully, including our flaws and vulnerabilities, we step into a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment. We stop waiting for the world to validate us because we've already validated ourselves. Learning that your presence is enough also means letting go of the need to be everything to everyone. There's a quiet power in not constantly trying to fix, help, or save others. Of course, it's important to be compassionate and supportive, but we don't have to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. We don't have to exhaust ourselves trying to be everything for those around us. Simply being there for others, showing up as yourself, is often the greatest gift you can offer. You don't have to sacrifice your own well-being or identity to make someone else feel valued. By showing up as your authentic self, you allow others to do the same, which fosters a sense of connection and mutual respect. By embracing the idea that your presence is enough, you begin to cultivate a sense of peace that transcends external validation. You no longer feel the need to constantly prove yourself or meet unattainable standards. Instead, you come to understand that the mere fact that you are here, existing in your unique way, holds incredible value. You are enough, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. And that truth has the power to transform the way you experience yourself and the world around you. The journey of healing begins the moment you decide to choose yourself. We often spend our lives caring for others, trying to meet their expectations, and focusing on what the world needs from us. Whether it's in relationships, family, work, or friendships, we become conditioned to put others first, often to the detriment of our own well-being. But true healing starts when we make the conscious choice to put ourselves at the center of our lives. Choosing yourself is an act of self-love and self-respect. aspect. It is about giving yourself permission to prioritize your own emotional, mental, and physical health, and acknowledging that you deserve the same care and compassion you so often give to others. Choosing yourself does not mean becoming selfish or abandoning others. It means recognizing that you cannot fully give to those around you unless you first take care of yourself. Think of it like putting on your own oxygen mask before helping others in an airplane emergency. If you're not well, how can you expect to be able to support anyone else? We cannot pour from an empty cup. The moment we make the decision to choose ourselves, we begin the process of healing, because we acknowledge that we are worthy of love, care, and attention just as much as anyone else. Choosing yourself requires setting boundaries, something many of us struggle with. We often fear the consequences of setting limits, thinking that others will be disappointed, angry, or hurt. But boundaries are an essential part of self-care and self-respect. By setting clear boundaries, we protect our emotional and mental energy, which allows us to show up more fully for ourselves and for others. Boundaries are not about rejecting others. They are about protecting our peace, our time, and our space. When we choose ourselves, we create room for healing because we stop allowing external influences to drain us. We stop saying yes when we mean no, and we stop overcommitting to things that do not serve our highest good. Healing is also about forgiveness of others, but most importantly, of yourself. We all carry burdens from the past: hurt, disappointment, regret, and shame. These feelings can weigh us down and prevent us from moving forward. But healing begins when we choose to let go of these burdens. We do not heal by holding on to anger or resentment, and we do not heal by punishing ourselves for mistakes we've made. When we choose ourselves, we choose to release the grip of the past and allow ourselves the grace to move forward. Forgiveness is not about excusing others for their actions or forgetting the pain we have experienced. It's about freeing ourselves from the hold that those experiences have on our present and future. Choosing to forgive is one of the most empowering acts we can perform in the healing process. Part of choosing yourself is allowing yourself to feel what you need to feel. We are often told to move on or get over it after difficult experiences, but healing does not work that way. Healing requires us to honor our emotions, to sit with the discomfort, and to feel our way through the pain. The journey of healing is messy, and it does not follow a straight line. There are days when the weight of grief, loss, or hardship feels overwhelming. On these days, choosing yourself means giving yourself permission to feel sad, angry, or tired without judgment. It means allowing yourself the space to process your emotions without trying to rush through them. Choosing yourself also means reconnecting with your inner desires and passions. In the hustle and bustle of life, we often lose sight of the things that bring us joy and fulfillment. When we focus solely on the needs of others or our responsibilities, we can neglect our own dreams and aspirations. Choosing yourself means giving yourself permission to pursue your own goals, no matter how big or small. It means taking time to nurture your creativity, follow your passions, and create a life that is truly yours. This is where true healing happens, not in constantly meeting the expectations of others, but in reconnecting with what truly makes you feel alive. There is power in solitude and stillness, and part of choosing yourself is learning to embrace moments of quiet. We often fill our lives with noise, whether it's social media, work, or the demands of others, because we are afraid of being alone with our thoughts and feelings. But it is in solitude that we find clarity and perspective. It is in those quiet moments that we reconnect with our authentic selves, away from the noise and distraction. Healing cannot happen if we do not take the time to be still, to reflect, and to listen to our inner voice. Choosing yourself means creating space for these moments of quiet where you can check in with yourself and determine what you truly need. Choosing yourself also requires letting go of the need for external validation. We live in a world that constantly tells us we are not enough unless we have certain things, achieve specific goals, or receive approval from others. But the truth is that you are enough exactly as you are. Choosing yourself means releasing the need for others to approve of you or your choices. It means trusting your own judgment and intuition and letting go of the need for constant affirmation from external sources. When you choose yourself, you are no longer seeking validation from others because you know your worth. Choosing yourself is a journey, not a destination. It's a decision you make every single day. It's about honoring your needs, your feelings, and your aspirations, and taking the steps necessary to care for yourself. The process of healing is not linear, and there will be times when it feels difficult or uncomfortable. But with each step you take toward choosing yourself, you are building a stronger, healthier foundation for your life. By choosing yourself, you are not just healing from the past, you are creating a future that is aligned with your true self. You are reclaiming your power, and in doing so, you are giving yourself the gift of peace, love, and healing.